Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Space Engineers tutorial. Today we're going to be discussing the UI, so let's get started. We'll start in the lower left hand corner. You have your suit UI. That's kind of what I refer to it as. And you'll see that it says J, X, O, and L at the top. J opens and closes your visor. So if you're on an oxygen planet like we are right now, you can have your visor open. If you were in space, you would want it closed, and then when it's closed, it highlights that light blue color. The next one is going to be X. If we hit X, that turns on our jetpack. We can go up and down and left and right and so forth, and we discussed that a little bit earlier as well in one of the previous tutorials. The next one is O. O turns on our suit antenna. So I'm going to have to demonstrate this one a little bit. Right now, the suit antenna is off, and if I hit the K key and go into remote access, I can look up here and see that I do not have any remote access to anything. If I turn the suit antenna back on, hit the K key again and go into remote access, now I have access to our lander right here, and I can open the terminal and adjust things. The next key is going to be L, and for us to see that really well, I need to... Let's see, the sun's over there. Maybe we can see it real good here. So if I press the L key, that turns on our suit headlamps. The L key will also work if you're in a vehicle that has lights on it, which we will be creating in a later tutorial. Also in the lower left-hand corner, as we discussed in the last video, you got the health bar, oxygen bar, things of that nature. But just to the right of that, you'll see a little arc. It says meters per second. That is your velocity. All right, so we could run at about 10 meters per second. And if we wanted to fly, we could fly at 110 meters per second. That's a hard limit in the game, whether you're using your jetpack or if you're flying in a spaceship. In space or in atmosphere. That is a hard limit. And then next to that, you'll see the little caution triangle and the little Z key next to that. That turns your dampeners on and off. So to demonstrate dampeners, I will go up a little bit, and right now I'm hovering. If I turn off the dampeners, I will fall. It does not, however, turn off the jetpack. You have to turn that off manually. Dampeners are great in space, most useful on planets because, well, if I were flying at 110 meters per second and I smacked into the back of this lander right here, it would kill me. But if I have my dampeners on, right, and I start flying to it, if I let off the key soon enough, you'll see it stops me before I hit it. The other thing that dampeners will do in atmosphere is it will allow you to just fly around. Right? So I can just fly around without having to worry about falling back to the ground. But if I turn dampeners off, then I'm always falling, even if I'm going straight. And you can see there, it cost me quite a bit of health to do that. So we'll get all that reset like it's supposed to. Replenish our health and our H2. And then we'll move on to the next part of the UI. Alright, in the center of the screen, you see the hotbar. Right above the hotbar, you'll see what appears to be a backpack. That is your personal inventory. Right? And if you hit the I key, you can open that up. The little bar next to it will let you know how full your inventory is. Underneath that is your actual hotbar. 1 through 0. 1 through 9, you can actually place things on, and the 0 key is basically nothing in your hand. If you hit Control plus a number, either any number 1 through 9, then it will change your hotbar, like so. And if you look at the very bottom on the left-hand side of the center hotbar, you will see those numbers being changed. Just to the right of that, you have the symmetry key. So when you're building, you can turn that on and off. But you have to kind of be in a build mode to do it. And I believe, I don't use symmetry, so I don't know. But I do know that that's the symmetry key. And then next to that, you have the T key. Auto rotate, but really kind of more like an auto place. It kind of tries to match up blocks. All right. So I don't use it because it often doesn't match blocks the way I want it to. So I normally leave it turned off. And then next to that, you'll see that there's two little squares. Right now, a square with a tiny cutout in the lower left-hand corner is highlighted. That means that I'm working with a small grid block, which is this right here, that you see me hovering around in the sky. And we know it's small grid because if we place it next to this, you can see that it lines up. However, if I press the hotbar key that this block is on, which in our case is number 4, if I press it again, now it turns into a large grid block. And a large grid block is typically what's used to build bases and things of that nature. Now, what you don't see here is another key, which is the B key. And if you read the center of the screen, it'll say pre-placement mode, which means that I can pretty much place this block however I want to. And the way we do that is if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the UI, kind of underneath where it says experimental mode, you'll see that there's some arrow keys there. So if I hit the home arrow key and the end arrow key, it rotates the block on its y-axis. And if I use delete and page down, it rotates the block on its x-axis. And if I use insert and page up, it will rotate the block on its z-axis. If I hit the B key again, then it's gravity aligned, which means that the block is aligned with gravity. So no matter where I place it on the terrain, it is aligned with the gravity of the planet. Right? So no matter how far up I go, up and down this hill or whatever, it's going to be aligned. And then the next time we hit B is it's a local grid align placement. If you're placing it on voxels, right, it's aligning itself to the voxel that it is placed on top of. If I want to align it here, right, you saw it automatically switch to a small grid block because we're trying to attach it to a small grid object, and it switched to free placement mode. Now I can change that to gravity align, but I cannot change it to local. Let's change the size of the block again. So I couldn't change it to local. Now if I build this block right here, from that point on, every block that I build that I connect to this one block will be moving in the same direction as all the other blocks. To the far right of the center UI, you'll see it says A gravity, E gravity, and then there's a little circle with a line through it. So that little circle is your artificial horizon. So if I lift up and I rotate my engineer like so, and sorry if that was a little fast, but that shows you how the artificial horizon works, and it operates the same way on a spaceship. A gravity and P gravity. So A gravity is atmospheric gravity, and P gravity is planetary gravity. Actually, I might have that wrong. Oh, no, I'm sorry. A gravity is artificial gravity. So once you get into space, you can build an artificial gravity block and create artificial gravity in a spaceship. Otherwise, you'll have to use magnetic boots to walk around your spaceship. So A gravity is for artificial gravity, P gravity is for planetary gravity, and we will discuss those a little bit more when we get to flying around and going to space and things of that nature. And then underneath the artificial horizon, you'll see the word or the letter P and a little block there. So if we had a control seat in this ship, then we would be able to see a little bar there, and it would indicate whether or not we were parked or not. And I think while there's some more stuff to discuss in the UI, I think we're going to hold off on that until the next episode when we start discussing the progression system, and we'll talk about the UI in that particular video. So until then, remember, play to win. Bye bye, everyone.